The 100 Season 3 Episode 713. Now, I feel like this episode, I don't think I've ever said this about a series before, but this episode was like a cool, sad episode. And it's cool because there's a lot of cool things that did happen. We got some really great answers. We actually got to see the end of the world, which is very interesting. I honestly never would have thought we'd see exactly how that happened, but they did so much in this episode that goes towards like here's answers to this, here's why they say this. Like they actually gave us quite a few answers in like that ending scene as to why certain things are the way that they are. And I love that. And I saw this episode on Hulu, so I haven't seen the promo. Or no, I did see the promo. I went over it again. I watched some extra stuff on Hulu. That's what it was. I didn't see. I saw the episode on TV. I just don't remember the promo for the next one. But I'm very excited for what they're going to be doing for this next episode because I think everything that kind of got revealed in this was a huge deal because a big question that I had really early on is like, okay, well, if Becca showed up again, because we find out early on that she must have landed back on Earth, how did she kind of survive and stuff like that? The first thing I was curious about was like, why in the world did they have murals of her? Like, people still had civilization and everything like that, so it was weird to me that they had like murals and everything. And they give a time frame, and I'm trying to, it was 2 years, that's what it was. So there were survivors for 2 years on Earth before she went back down. And it was just amazing what they did with it. Like, all the reveals were really good, and like it was just really freaking fun. It was really cool. And then of course, the sad side of it is that Lexa does end up dying in this episode, and that kind of led to the cool stuff. It was kind of in between all the cool stuff, like the flashbacks and the very ending with the answers. But I'd said it before. Like I said, ever since I read that comment on Hulu where someone mentioned that she was the actress from Fear the Walking Dead, it just freaked me out. Like, it makes total sense that she wouldn't be on the show anymore because it might be too much, and so they could kill her off. And every time something happened, I thought that was the case. And honestly, I love the way that they did it because it did surprise me because they totally went the route that I thought they were going to early on, where it was a bit of a coup and the guy wanted revenge for his village, and so he was trying to kill Lexi. He was like, death to the commander. And then he gets stopped and he gets killed, and I was like, okay, that was sort of the typical thing, what you would expect. And then she actually dies because the Flamekeeper, because I totally don't remember his real name, but they said Flamekeeper. I was like, I can remember that. But he's trying to kill Clark so that Lexa will no longer have any sort of influence. And he ends up shooting Lexa, which I did not expect at all. And I was like, I can't believe that just happened. But it was it was just really cool. It's like, that really sucks that it happened, and everything was about to work out, and now I'm curious to see what happens with Octavia and Clark, because Octavia was waiting for her, and Clark was going to leave, and then, of course, the person you've kind of fallen in love with gets shot right in front of you. You have to stay extra. So, of course, Octavia doesn't know that, but she's going with Indra back towards Arcadia, and who knows what's going to happen from that. I like the fact that Octavia, that was another cool moment. Octavia kind of got Indra back on her feet, was like, you need to get the F up. Like, you taught me to be a fighter. You're a fighter because you're an awesome fighter, so get up. So I love the fact that she was able to convince her at the end. And so they have like a badass just walking moment where they're leaving the town. I was like, that's really cool. So excited to see what happens with the two of them on their way to Arcadia. Because I don't know if they'll just end up getting there and that'll be it. But either way, I'm looking forward to it. But with the way they end things, and we have Allie's, well, it's not Allie's second AI. We find out that technically it's just Alie 2. It's not an upgrade or anything like it's. I guess it is an upgrade because it is just Alie 2, but it is a completely different. Seemingly it was like a completely fresh start for her, for Becca when she was making the second AI, and I love the way they did. It was very interesting because it's like it seems like it's actually living very similar to Alie 1, but it's like it moves and stuff, and it's moved for a very long time because even when it's cut out of Lexa, when he pulls it out, which is super gross, it still has like the tendrils and the really tiny tendrils and stuff, and then it kind of forms back into the new shape. And I was like, that's actually really creepy, but also very cool. And I don't know what that means. It's just interesting that they would even do that. But another cool answer that they gave us is that they give us not only a new name, we get, I want to say, oh man, I totally forgot the name of the new people. It's like something, it was almost like tribe leads, but I know that's not what it is. It's something close to that. But we find out that the reason that there are people who have this very dark blood is because of Becca, because she was doing whatever those injections were, which seemingly were the twitching that they mentioned early on in the episode. But there's kind of no real answer given. It was like she was injecting herself with some sort of black ink to survive, and that was pretty much all we got. And it's like, oh, that's why people have such dark blood in their system, because they're bred from this woman who came down and I'm assuming just had multiple kids when she finally landed on Earth, because otherwise, it would have to be multiple people. But it could obviously just spread from one branch, and that's kind of how it is. And that was, I think it was, they mentioned it was 97 years earlier, so it was 95 years ago by the time she landed back on Earth. So definitely could make an easy branch in that timeline, especially when you like, it's been 2 years and the Earth has been destroyed. It's like, holy crap, someone just dropped from the freaking sky. And when she got out, because she had the AI in her neck, she could breathe radiation, and it was like nothing. And that was probably the biggest thing that blew my mind, is that she came down, and it makes total sense that she would be, kind of seen as almost like this god-like figure, because she comes down 2 years after nuclear fallout has destroyed the planet, and she, has this crack in her mask, and she just takes it off and is like, I'm here to help. And she's just breathing, and it's almost pitch black. It's still like ash just flying through the sky, and she's just breathing and everything. And, that's how we get the commander, which I thought was awesome, because they show her her outfit and it says commander. So that's why the leaders are all called commander, from Becca, landing back on Earth and kind of restarting civilization in a way that people could survive. And because we got to see that there was only this one chip, it means that she didn't implant it in a bunch of other people, and that's how everyone began to survive. It was kind of the natural thing, like they said, like people were just born out in the world, so they had that certain amount of radiation. But it was just a really cool thing at the end, and he opens up the little thing, and he has the little tin case, and I was like, that's the case. And then he cuts her open and he pulled that out. It just blew my mind. So it was definitely a great ending. It was cool that Murphy tried to fight back, but he got himself destroyed. It was cool to see that the Flamekeeper could definitely fight, because I was surprised by that scene. And I was like, oh man, he can really hold his own. And he was doing he was doing some martial arts stuff for sure. He was doing like some serious twists, and he was like, flipping them over on the ground. They did good use of slow motion during that scene as well. But he like flips him over, and then he like grabs his arm, and he's like spinning it and locking his arm in place, and putting his knee on his neck. I was like, he can really fight, which just surprised me. And I guess I didn't think of that in that opening scene, because it was like, well, if you have like a little bit of training, you can counter someone with a knife. All you do is like hit them right in the joint and like try to knock their arm backwards, and that's pretty much what he did. And I was like, okay, that's not the biggest, craziest move ever. But when he fought Murphy, it was like he was flipping his arm around and putting him in crazy positions, and just went straight down on his neck. I was like, okay, he could definitely move. It wasn't like a fluke in the beginning. But I really did enjoy this episode. It really sucks to see Lexa go. And I'm very curious. I was surprised, because I was really scared, honestly, when she got shot. Even though the guy promised, like, I won't go after Clark anymore, I was like, he could easily just be saying that, and he'll turn right around and be like, she totally killed her, like, because that was his whole plan. It's like, no, they'll think Murphy killed Clark because, Sky Crew weapons, and that was pretty much it. And it was just like, okay, I was glad to see that he didn't do that. That could change in the next episode, but I'm assuming it won't. And the plan is meant to be that the young boy is going to take over for Lexa, but they still, kind of the way that they ended it, it's still that the commander's spirit has to choose. And I'm very curious to see what that entails. Like, I don't know if it's bonded to people with the black blood, because that's what the Ice Queen was trying to do. Like, oh, if we kill you off, she can be the technical commander, because she has the black blood in her system. So she'd basically be a rightful heir, because she comes from Becca's bloodline. So I don't know if that's how it plays out. If this AI kills whoever it kind of joins to, and that might be something we find out because they do touch on it again in this episode, which was a really great scene. And it was the one in the trailer where Lexa mentions how she's able to separate emotion and basically, the state of affairs because the Ice Queen killed her ex-girlfriend and put her head in her bed like it was, totally can't think of the freaking name of the movie, even though it's one of the most famous movies ever. But you probably know what I'm talking about, the third one with the horse head. That's going to bug me that I can't remember the name of one of the most, like, The Godfather. That would have drove me nuts if I can remember that. But it's like The Godfather where she puts a head in her bed. So it makes me wonder if that's how it's going to play out, where the people who are meant to be, basically, they all line up, and whoever basically gets chosen by the AI, where it's like, oh, you have the same blood as Becca did, so I won't, like, I don't know, destroy your nervous system and make you die. That's who's chosen as the next commander, and I'm assuming that's how it's going to be, because Becca mentions, like, oh, this AI is organic, basically. It bonds with us as human beings, so I would assume it has to be people who have the same blood, like they have the same, basically black blood in their system. So this AI would be like, okay, I can bond with this person, because I'm assuming everyone was supposed to have their own, based on the way it ended at least, because initially it seemed like it was just going to be a really good computer program that kind of runs all the calculations, and that's pretty much it. But ultimately it was just like, that's the way that it ended, at least, is that it's bonded with her blood system, and it has to be someone who, I assume, kind of falls in line with that same blood. They have the black blood in their system. So I think we might get to see that, whoever these candidates are going to end up being. Of course, the young boy is going to be one, but because it's the 100, I feel like he might die, and then it'll be someone brand new who is like a terrible choice. Or maybe that girl will come back. Maybe they, she was cast out, if I remember right. The prince did cast her out, so it's like she's done with the Ice Nation. But who knows? I mean, the word's gonna spread that the commander died, and it's like, oh, we have to choose. And she could easily show up. Like, I don't think that they could really fight the idea, even if she was banished from one nation. She has that blood, and they have crazy rules. I think we can all admit that. So I don't know. She could definitely come up if she wanted to and be like, hey, black blood in my system. I'm definitely in line. So I don't know what's gonna happen there, but certainly looking forward to it. I feel like, with everything that happened with the Ice Nation, I do feel like it was kind of quick. So I think this is definitely a great way to kind of bring that back. Even though she was banished, she'll kind of take over, and maybe that'll cause more issues with the prince, where it's like, you kicked me out after your mom got killed, so now I'm kind of pissed, and I'm going to kind of do some stuff to get revenge on you. So I'm not 100% sure what's going to happen, but it really does suck to see Lexa go, but I'm very excited. And now, of course, we have this kill order, which I remember the promo now. It's all about Arcadia and them, kind of Kane working to take out Pike. But we still have this kill order, and, it goes into effect at dawn, and the next commander will be the only person that can really take that away, I would assume, unless some crazy sort of power vacuum happens, which I don't think will happen, because they tend to really follow the rules of the commander. So that'll kind of be in place until the next commander is chosen, and they'll have to be careful. And we still have Clark and Murphy, and like the whole thing is like they would still have been in danger, even if they were with Lexa. They were still in a bit of trouble. So I don't know what to expect with them still being in the capital, because especially with Lexa dead now, they might just be easy pickings, and they're gonna have to go out on the run together. So there are just so many things that can happen. We still have Jaha himself, trying to help Alie get the second part of her AI, and depending on what happens, we might have this next commander get a bit too close to Arcadia, and we might see Alie get that upgrade that she was looking for. And considering it's the evil version, which we found out in this episode could not be killed by the poison that she was supposed to be infected with, she kind of outgrew that, super quick, and was able to still set off all the nukes. So I think she'll have complete control over this new version of AI, which is kind of meant to be symbiotic and organic with other humans, and she'll just take it over and be like, now I'm way more powerful, and I can, inhabit an actual body, which I think is kind of where that's going to lead to. Although it would get rid of the actress, which I think would kind of suck. She's a good actress. Unfortunately, they've only made her two characters I don't like, because it's like, of course, can't like Alie. And with Becca, it's kind of a mixed bag. It was like, I don't hate her character or anything like that. That. I understand exactly what she was trying to do, but she was being a bit selfish because she made an AI that did ultimately was the reason the world was destroyed, and she was willing to risk all of that all over again for the what they thought at least was the last of the human race. And unfortunately, and it was the craziest thing, and I was kind of upset that they did it this way. But even when she takes off and everything's fine, she took off and everyone on the 13th station still got killed. And I hated my own country for that, honestly, because I was like, why would they blow them up? It was like, nope, you guys, basically it was like, you guys took too long, we're mad. And it was like, let this be a lesson to everyone who doesn't like dock with us. We'll blow you up. That made me so mad. I was like, it makes me hate my own country for that. But it happened. That really annoyed me that they did it that way, because if it was something else where it was like she left like just at the last second as it was blowing up, which in a sense she did, but like she just jumped in the thing as it was exploding or something, that would have been okay, because they were still like, we can't do it but for this reason, which I kind of wish they explained that to him, like, we can't because of this. But I think based on how it ended, I'm sure if they said we have basically the creator of the AI that blew up the planet, they would have been destroyed anyway. So they probably couldn't have said that, honestly. Clearly, based on the way it ended, it was just like, nah, it took too long. We're going to blow you guys up. And it really, that was like the only thing about this whole episode I didn't like. Like, Becca I didn't like as a character for what she did, but logic based, it was just like, no, you guys took too long. And they killed a bunch of people because they took a long time. And it was just like, that is dumb. That made no sense to me. So that annoyed me. But other than that, really love this episode. Definitely let me know what you guys thought about it. So please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts, your least favorite parts. And of course, with Lexa dying, of course have to ask you guys how you feel about Lexa being killed off in this episode. But I also have to ask, who do you think will be the next commander? Because they've given two opportunities, or two prospects at least, with the young boy and possibly the girl that was cast out. But I do think it'll kind of go, either it'll end up being that girl just to have a new villain, or it could end up being the boy. I just feel like it won't be the boy, because it's like, oh, he grew up kind of learning good lessons, and it's the 100, so the right person never seems to end up in charge. So I feel like even though he'd be good, because he learned good lessons about how to be a good leader and how to treat people fair, especially with what was happening recently with Lexa making these very different choices for basically the lineage of her people. I think he grew up with some interesting ideas, like you can change and you don't have to go to war all the time. And I feel like that's just too nice of a solution, and he'll get killed by the AI and it'll be someone else. So I want to know your speculations, if if you guys think it'll be the boy, the girl that was cast out, or maybe just someone totally different. Definitely want to know your expectations and what you guys thought about losing Lexa and the episode in general, because it was definitely a really good one. Love the backstory for this. But like I said, I want to know what you guys thought about it, so please comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.